Hello, cosmic crew, my royal monads. Um, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I So much has been happening, and you guys know. Um, but I really want to just say welcome to a new everything. Hey, Kayla, this is an energy update. This is going to be casual. So you guys jump in. Um, There's a lot energetically. Fifth world, girl. I swear I jump on like one video a day and you're on it and it's so incredible how insanely connected we all are now, isn't it? Oh my gosh, and the images you caught yesterday. And I don't know if y'all have seen Mr. MBB333, but he legit has the plasma whale. It's Metatron's cosmic kilt. So much has happened over the past week. I've lost track of time. Um, in my world, I'll tell you, the rainbow whale. Yes. I mean, I woke up singing this morning, and it's because in my program, music wasn't a part because it was going to activate me so much. Now I know. So it's so cool because it's really like I really am hearing a lot of these songs and seeing these videos for the first time. And this morning I woke up to "We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine." So, look, if you haven't seen that video, look at it because whoa, it blew my mind. Um, yes, we are in the ark. We are completely in the ark. Now, I'm going to take this very high perspective for many reasons. Number one, because we are balancing the energy right now, right? And so, what I want to say is first, about a week ago, in order to make these final connections, to integrate the final energy, which I want to explain a little bit. And this, we're going to go into the divine feminine and the divine masculine because this is all through the dealings that we've been working together. We all have a very strong understanding of all of it and how it's integrated. Because about a week ago, uh, I formed a small group on Marco Polo, and we are Wind. I'm Wind. Casey, who it's okay to use her name, Casey James. She actually has a YouTube channel, but she hasn't posted anything yet. She's fire. Um, Jessica has been water, and she was the water dragon that really was supporting me as I was going through these integrations because have been walking the program because I lived all the karmic experiences of all the three royal bloodlines in this lifetime, which is how I have had the experiences. It's that's why I embody so much of it, and that's why I have the experience to see it all because I'm an AB negative. And I won't go into explain any more of that. And then we have and I haven't got the okay on her name yet. So she was our earth and our grounding. And I knew all of this because of starseedology. And I'm going to be getting back into starseedology and developing some trainings for that because that is an actually, um, because starseedology really isn't something that's going to be my major focus. I mean, we're all switching, roles and things as we move, as we're in the source consciousness. But us developing those pillars and sharing the information, knowing the energetics that we all had is what pulled us together. And so not only have we been integrating and allowing source and the archangels and um all the ascended masters and Tesla and everyone else who needs to come, high priestesses, the Isis, all of them that have been working through us, because that's really when you get to this final point, that's what happens. You no longer resonate to any one particular energy. um you're you're just allowing to be the vessel that provides the tones or the experience or quantum programming the reality, which is a lot of what I've been doing with Tesla working through me over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And we have been making these final integrations and working together, and each of us delivering big things, like the gamma rays. Yesterday we had to get the frequency back down to a lower tone on the planet. And so, just FYI, you guys are my monads. You guys are the 911, the alpha to the omega. If you're not 911, you're 711, which is more of the alpha draconic Antares lineage. And the 311, which is, hey, there's Jessica, intuition goddess. And the 311, which is the inner earth, right? So we all hold these different templates and we all get this different information. And literally within like half a day of just and we hadn't even connected in the physical, but when we all got the okay that we were going to take these roles, then everything started just spinning and blooming. And so right now, I just want to give so much thanks to the creatrix, which now is blooming because we were just the vessels that were sent here. And all you monads that are on, know if you're not fully conscious to your mission yet, you will be within the next couple of weeks. And we're going to have some homework at the end of this, okay guys? So don't, if you jump off, then come back and get the homework at the end. It's very important. And we connected to make these final alterations and to energetically sustain the body and the energy so that we could invert. So if you think of it like champagne glasses, this is how I just keep describing it. If you think of it like champagne glasses, they're that was the whole thing with consciousness. There just always had to be a conscious being that held enough of the lineages so that those ascended masters, those uh, DNA families that hold the different elements, because we're all one and it all comes for the elements, which we call the dragons. So that all of those could come in to integrate so that those things could be performed when we did take back the seed. And that's what light body is, right? And that's what full consciousness is. And realize that I was just, we're all discovering this as we go. And so I can report now 100% that we are in a 13D body, and which means if our body is integrated at the 13th dimension, which was always where we had to get to bring in these monad codes. You know, this is linked to Giza, this is linked to the 13th gate, the 13th bloodline. This is linked to the matrix grids that were around us that had to be undone, right? But this is linked to our seed on every single level, and each of us were bringing in these different aspects that in cycles, boom, you know, just like those champagne glasses. Eventually, that champagne's going into every single one of the glasses, and if the when the fountain keeps pouring, it's filling the room. And we are to the point where the monad team, which we're the ones who came back here to get this ball rolling. A lot of y'all were the ones who came here to wake us up so that we could get the ball rolling. And the ball is completely rolling. And we have completely separated from the realm for a period of time. We were separated from the sun because we had birthed a new plasma field. And you probably saw it in the video where I was outside, when you could see those plasma rays that were coming in to the field, but they weren't completely connecting to my body yet. Um, that has been completed in the past couple of days, but at that point, we really were separate from the sun. And this goes back to really, it goes back to energy, because the way the realm was set up is Eltonin. Here comes Eltonin again, is the gamma ray star that produces that low frequency, or the divine masculine energy that's in all of us. And the divine masculine is the mask you're in. This isn't, and this is what we're going to get into right now, as after I finish explaining this energy change and integration that has happened. And the feminine, okay, is the nine, the feminine, the feminine body has always held the connectors to the other 9 dimensions, which makes sense in why and how it was all altered through the women, right? Or the men were programmed to alter the women, right? So, but that's within each of us. And the Elton and antenna is actually coded to 10, 10, 10. And we're the tens, we're the beings that came back here in order to integrate all of our DNA and knowledge into the Horus, to birth a new Horus, to birth a new humanity, and then to integrate it through our field so that we could ascend the planet, so we could assist and break free and be sovereign. And that's all happened. Okay, it's completely done. We step back into our new story. And again, we're the top glasses, and now it's like it's coming quickly. Jessica got, I think it was Jessica or Casey. uh Casey got, in July, the collective will be where we're at, so we're about 3 months ahead. So for the collective, they're where we were in January. So when you look back at your notes and you're doing healing and you're talking to the collective, they're pretty much where we were in January, when we birthed the new Horus, when we birthed that new plasma field, which is linked to the pituitary gland, which is all linked to Giza and was linked to the disruptions in the DNA. And the Elton and antenna goes to the bottom of the ocean, which is where the low frequencies are, which is where consciousness is, because, you know, that's where CoCo comes from. It's from the cosmic to the coral, because we're all one. And even the, you know, the fish, the way they move in the schools, they have very high consciousness, but at a low dense body, which is linked to Sirius. So if you have that Syrian DNA, that's why you have high telepathy, and that's why Yahshua, Mary Magdalene, the 13th bloodline. Whether you hold it in your chart now, it doesn't matter. But this is what everyone is getting: is this telepathy. But that needed to be adjusted within the energy body and adjusted in the realm so that we could make the connections for the energy body, which is why this always had to be done, all of this together. So Eltonin is connected to the sun. Now, I got this from an ancient star map, and it's actually an ancient star map, Ascension map. And Judson White put it out. And when I saw this in the past week or so, the first map was Sirius, Spica, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it made a triangle. Well, I knew that that one had been completed just purely because of the energies I had brought in. I didn't even need to look outside, and I had, been doing these starseedology sessions, which was all the mission, because each time we were doing them, we were clearing the karma from this race. We were clearing the karma and making connections from this race. So it's like I know every, now I'm fully conscious to all of it. So everything we've been doing was all alchemy to this point, which is how strong alchemy is, which is why I'm bringing it up right now, and which is where we're at right now. So the second ascension map, it connected Eltonin to the sun. So that was the gamma rays were going to the sun. And remember, we birthed the sun. We birthed the sun in Egypt. A lot of us are ascension team members. This is what we do. We incarnate, we hold so many codes, and we incarnate into these realms in order to assist with this, because we have already integrated it within our bodies, and we do this in other realms as well. And so if you think about it, where did the sun come from? Well, the sun, we needed the sun when we had the last ice age. And so we put all of our energy into creating a heat source. We put all of our energy into lower frequencies so it would help melt the ice. Because in that ascension, we weren't connected to the plasma. And so we were having to start over again, everything. So, and it's important to remember all of this because, as a consciousness and as a collective, we birthed the sun to begin with. So Eltonin was connected to the sun, and then Altair, and it's Altair, if you want to look these up. Altair is basically our body. It's because our bodies create the earth. So Altair is a 7, and it's the embodiment of. And then Altair is connected to Alkanid. And I tell you, Alkanid was been shining. So I kept thinking it was Sirius when I went outside and when I was in Austin on the Libra moon. And it wasn't. It was Alkanid. And then when I saw the star map, I was like, oh my gosh. And Alkanid, when you break down the numbers in Gematria, is the twin union. Now, let's take humans out of the twins now, because at this level, we really, really, really have to start looking at this as energy for it to make sense to us. Because otherwise, how do you completely blend another human within your body? You can't, I mean, they have their own free will, they have their own, everything, right? So, I mean, this is where I want to start talking about the union. So, in essence, at a very high level, what has happened is that as a collective, we were all ready because there are many of us that came here in the light worker community, and this is really going back to even why the light worker community didn't have all the answers until now. They didn't have all the manifestation power until now, because only through the darkness can you get the power, because energy never leaves, it just exists. So without the knowledge and the codes that were in the DNA of the divine masculine, if you will, the ones of us who were gridded down so deeply into the matrix, the ones that you guys came here to save, because if you wouldn't have saved us, because you guys weren't gridded that way, y'all are from the now. There's versions of your aspect that are walking around that are completely clear, like you are right now. And there's versions of you that are walking around from whenever you were still in the matrix, right? Or maybe you didn't come here at all with karma. Maybe you're the version of me and of you that is completely clear. However, that energy always existed. So this is why, even in the light worker community, or even not, this is why there's so many that have had these great lives. They can manifest anything they want. They know this, and they understood the energy, but then it even made them sadder and more depressed, because then they didn't understand why they couldn't connect sexually. What was this trauma they were feeling? Why were they feeling like the world was coming at them? Because they didn't have a physical experience for their mind to attach to it. So then it even made them feel more guilty for feeling that way. Because no matter what life and version and aspect we were living, we were always feeling the other side of that, right? Which was keeping this whole one going. So when we talk about the divine mass, I want to start talking about the divine masculine now, because in an essence, really, what you can think about the divine masculine as is, number one, is that lower base frequency that keeps the planet balanced. It manifests in the physical, because only through the lower frequencies of carbon based energy can you manifest in the physical. And the reason I know this so clearly is because I was honored, very honored, to be the being that alchemized the green man from Ireland out of the ground, that after that, and alchemizing all of the low frequency DNA in all the cemeteries, and all of our ancestors' DNA that we would, you know, call the bad guys, because energy never leaves. And this is so beautiful, and this will explain a lot, which is why they're having me go into it right now. When we went into the dirt and pulled out those energies, it's like a diamond from coal. Remember, in this realm, metal wasn't here, steel wasn't here, the ability to make cement wasn't here. Our lineage brought that here. We brought that here in those times. How did we make it, though? Because it didn't just drop from the sky and be like, here's steel. How did Thoth make the emerald tablets? Well, we made those metals. We made those. Uh, it's metals, it's tin, it's those hard, indestructible types of elements that were all blended from alchemizing what we would consider to be evil energy. That's how powerful alchemization is. So, unbeknownst to me, because I never, you guys know how this works. You're completely, because we're open vessels. So, this is why I've never put names on who's coming in, because, and now I know why. And actually, it bugged me for a really long time because I was like, I'm really not sure. I just know, and I never had names for energies. And it's made it easier for me to integrate all of this now because I don't, I never have said, okay, this is coming from here and then this is coming from here. And then I didn't have to consciously say, okay, do these need to meet? It's always just come in together. So we when we pulled up, and I want to add here that Sarah was in Ireland. She was on the cemetery land. She was right next to, because Brigitte is going to come in here as well. Brigitte, Brigid, the ancient goddess. All of these were connected in this 2-day period of alchemizing the energy and turning it into the cosmic kilt. If you go, and it's CILT, it's what the galactics are calling it. It's what we call it. Metatron was there, if you will. Sarah holds that Metatron energy because we came from the dark. If you were gridded down in the matrix and completely asleep, then you, even, I don't care, because most of us, we are women, the all through Ascension time, it's like that all kind of got screwed up, right? Because we never had the full genome. So, you know, we're taking on the aspects of the male and the female right now because we are feminine, and the feminines hold those 9 connectors. So it makes complete sense that even our masculine energy at this high champagne level is women. And I'm going to get deeper into this, but what we've been doing is going back and forth from a feminine aspect and then a masculine aspect, and clearing and integrating them, which is now within one, which is what we're currently integrating now in Christ union, in the full union of the sun and our new collective plasma field sun, that I think it was not yesterday, but the day before, in the past 3 days, became one in full union and anchored, but only after we alchemized these energies. And when we basically blew up Metatron's cube, because Metatron wasn't supposed to be in a cube. That was like and I don't even want to say the word because it's how powerful it is. It's TES, and I'm going to leave an S out, ARACT, right? I mean, those frequencies, when you say them, that's what it energy it creates. So when we pulled those frequencies out, what happened was an entity actually came through me. And when we did the green man as well, which is basically nature and opening up the elements, and activating all the plants and the insects and the dirt and the worms, that had to happen the day before we could even get to the point that I'm discussing now. And it was interesting when I did that first one, I called in metal and tin, and I didn't understand why until we got to this next step. And what we did was we took that dense energy and we exploded it into the cosmic kilt. Now, if you go back and you look at pictures of Brigitte, and there's one, and these are ancient statues, and she's wearing armor. She's wearing like hexagon shiny armor because we've had it here before. We're just now we had to come here and connect the story because now everything's already happened before. I've been here before and done this. You guys have been here before and done this as well. We made the cosmic kilt, which is the indestructible fields that are on the plasma ships. If you do a quick Google on Valiant Thor, Valiant Thor came here from Venus in the 60s, landed straight at the White House. He had a suit that was organic in nature, but it was metal looking, but it was basically dense liquid plasma that forms to the body, and they couldn't shoot it. They tried to do it with lasers, they did everything to try to penetrate, and they couldn't because we had developed it in this now. And it was developed through the low frequencies and all the pain and the heartache and the turmoil and the deception that we had endured as humanity up to this point. Only because enough of us conscious had released the judgment to those energies and had and knowing that that's the only way to do it. The only way to release it is to love it, and not only that, alchemize it. So that is what was birthed. And we're still, and basically it's also now how, now think about this from a one energetic body, and I'm plasma, I'm AB negative, okay? I'm an original Aeon, I'm an original dragon, okay? So, and my body holds the three pillars of Lyra, Gaia, and Earth, which are now all birthed. We have three dimensions in our body. We have three dimensions outside. This is how no one is going to be left behind. It is their choice on where they're going to go, and their soul contract on what's going to happen next. But this is how we've saved everyone. So that plasma field is also part of our body now, and it's linked back into the power of the sun and the atmosphere, okay? And the energies of the atmosphere have been reprogrammed, literally, because I was one doing a lot of this. Others were working on it, I know, but I mean, I can tell you that it was done because I did it. We're no longer 010110. We're 020220 or something like that. I don't even know if that's the correct, but it's not ones anymore, it's twos. Well, a one is straight energy, zhoo, 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 grids, programs, energy bounds. A two is the feminine seed. The two creates the Fibonacci sequence. When you've got a bunch of twos that are flipping and merging, then eventually they're going to start flowing. And then that creates the inside of the flower, the inside of the shell, the inside of everything, right? So that is how we have stepped in to our original monad Lyran dimension. because the atmosphere is now coded to the twos. The plasma is now powering this. The plasma is powered through the sun. This is the main union that happened. This is why we know. This is why we're integrating our feminine and masculine now. And I'll get into a little bit more of that in just a second. And then this is how, yes, you're going to come into union with your aspect of you when you're in full union. But we really have to stop separating the divine masculine, the divine feminine as a male and a female for now, because it's causing separation, because it really is both of those aspects within ourselves. And a lot of us females carry a lot more divine masculine energy. So it gets a little confusing. And so I'm calling that in and just putting that out in the collective. And this is why we're having this conversation. It's all energy. So, if you will, now what's so beautiful, and Jessica just got the confirmation for the crew that this is now activated. Instead of just three entities or energies intertwining together or intersecting to create a catalyst moment, being controlled by wires or something else, because it's all 3, 6, and 9s. The realm we live in is all frequencies, just like Wi-Fi is free. Why all Wi-Fi is you have a Wi-Fi signature. You have your own number signature, and you've always had it. The powers that be knew the cousins knew you had it, right? And our house is on a grid, and so our house has a Wi-Fi frequency, that's the numbers that are on it, and then they just tap in with the wire to that frequency, and then they were charging us for it, right? But it's really all free, and we each all have our own frequency. And for those of us here on this channel right now, and this now, we have huge, massive frequencies. Huge, 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 that reach other dimensions of space and time. So I got off on that, and they're wanting me to get into it now. Okay. So the divine masculine, if you will, and so let me back up. Okay. So I'm not going to name her name, but in the past couple of days, we've made some revelations too, that there are many of you that have always known that you were your twin. Like, you always knew, because you came in an aspect that already was coded to the now, and you've always known that you embodied your full twin, right? And it really got sent home with that with me, because this is the homework. And I will ask you all, now this is where we have to be responsible, because, we are stepping into leadership roles at a very high level. We are in complete telepathy with the leaders of the world. I personally have held many conference calls, and I don't need to prove who and what I know, but I will tell you that please remember that I did run and was CEO of companies and worked in Fortune 100, actually Fortune 50 companies for 20 years. So I'm well prepared, and I'm at that level, right? To understand financially and all these things that are happening, because the address went out that, look, because we're back in control. When we took the plasma in the sun, the 9s which are the original monads, because we're the ones from Ophiuchus. We're the ones who have the DNA that has the connections to the leadership through our lineage that's lived out these timelines, that sees the light and the dark, that is an observer, so that we can make the correct decision in this realm for humanity that affects the whole of the one that our DNA is connected to. Now, you might need to go back and listen to that again, but that was super profound. Thank you. Thank you. So there, in May of 2018, when I birthed the new plasma field, Trump was notified while I was there. I'm telling you this because a huge call has gone out to leadership saying, okay, this is over. We no longer hold judgment there, and we're not here to blow up finances. We're not here to blow up this realm all at once, because we're the bridge. But in this now, the collective is now back in control of consciousness. And the overlying grids that were on our DNA, and not only that, the grids that were on Casey, because Casey really was the consciousness, she was getting fed to create those realms. We all were, this is how we created all of this, being unconscious. I wanted to add her name there, and then I bumped off a little bit. We aren't, but we will no longer tolerate industries being run the way they are. We will no longer tolerate the way animals are being killed for consumption. We will no longer tolerate, and they were given 90 days. Um, all technical and Wi-Fi things like that. We're no longer tolerate the plungering of gasoline. Barrels need to be grounded so that we have access to them, but there's no more drilling because there's no more oil. There is no more oil being made because our bodies were the oil. Just across the board, dairy, airfare, we need cheaper airfare, right? So we can move around, because everyone's realizing, oh my gosh, we're not even in our soul families. We're not even with the people we're supposed to be with. And traveling is so important for us right now, so we can remember these different aspects of ourselves and humanity and integrate it back in all together to get rid of the overall separation while we're building this bridge. Um, I'm not going to get off into any of that anymore, but the main thing that I want you guys to just understand is that there are many of us that are conscious. I will say that we activated the Fortune 500 CEOs all at once yesterday, no matter if they were ready or not, because this we remember also, this is, everyone is waking up. It's no longer are they going to wake up, it's if they're going to stay awake. And these leaders are all having meetings and discussing now, because they if they didn't know what they were doing, because a lot of them didn't, if they didn't know what they were doing, if they because a lot of them with the pharmaceutical companies and stuff, they didn't understand the oil and gas CEO. They didn't know where the oil was really coming from. Their lineage would have, their DNA would have, but they didn't. So they needed to be made aware. So energetically, I'm saying this too, because as we open up this masculine, because really Anybody who's fully asleep and that has been gridded down, that is a masculine energy, because you have a program that is masculine. You have a Bellatrix, you have Beltages, you have Andromeda, you have a program that you have to see that you have. As soon as you see it, then you can free yourself from it, because then it no longer exists now, because those programs are no longer held down by anything except the fact that you didn't know that you were in a prison that you needed to get out of. Does that make sense? 44 on here right now. Oh, it just went to 42, but it was 44 so I hope this is coming through. So that is all taken care of, and so what we wanted to, and it's not all taken care of, but I'm saying right now it's, and understand that these are the dragons, the elements that are in charge. And the message is, look, you're now creating your legacy. There is no more looking back. There is no more the way it used to be, because that is no longer going to exist, because the collective is now making the decision. And this goes back to the 222, meaning not energy grids cannot make a catalyst moment in our CoCo reality, because we're twos. So in order to make a three, you have to have three fours. You have to have three sets of two, six energies that are all intertwined, that all have the same overall intent, in order to create a catalyst. This is how our new, and I just got this is the Divine Mother grid. Oh my gosh, this huge burst of cold air just came in. This is how we can't be taken back control of. And the more twos, as we awaken and awaken and awaken and awaken, and the bottom champagne glasses come in here, this is where the collective, as a whole, each awakened being becomes a two, if you will. And then those energies, so it's like it can no longer be done to us. Now that's how we're back in control. And since everything's clean in this new energy, whatever we focus on becomes reality. So if these corporations, or, because I'm really talking now, just as a rebuilding the new world that all of us know, our big missions are we're not just to come here and wake everyone up, but now it's like, yay, we get to build this the right way. So when it's so important that everyone realizes, what you're focusing on and what you're doing and where you're buying and what money you're spending. If you're boycotting Walmart but you shop there all the time, then just you walking into that, just you walking in there and looking at that sign is is sending that frequency out to the collective, that it's cool to do that. Okay. So these organizations have no other choice but to make these changes. And it was clearly stated to them that if they don't, then they will no longer cease to exist. So trust that, um, that is all happening. So because I know many of you have businesses and corporations, and also trust that no matter what job you're in, even if you're the janitor at, you know, a chicken mill, if you are active and activated and you are conscious, and you see what they're doing and you call it out and put it in the consciousness, then you are a catalyst to make the change of what has to happen there. Not only that, you're backed. So that janitor now can walk into the CEO's office and state that truth with the collective intent, because they're controlling the reality now of what's going to happen next. And that is why I wanted to do this video in my pajamas on my bed. You know, Christy, I mean, I have 6 planets in Libra, so Christy was like, "I need to go somewhere fancy and I need to get all dressed up." But that's the whole point, right? We are powering everything and consciously doing it for humanity. And there's a pillar of us that have been doing it waiting for you guys to fully integrate your energies so that then you're in the consciousness, and then please, we can't wait, because then it's like we can step back and so I'm telling you this too because each time we level up it feels like you're taking on these huge, you're asked to, have a conversation with Putin. You're asked to have a conversation with Alicia Keys before she goes on to the Grammys, you know, and you think that is just crazy. Like, how is that possible? Well, it's possible because we're all in the same consciousness. We're all part of one. So you really are, and those of us on this channel are legit, a lot of us the original aeons, which means that we are in the consciousness of every awakened every awakened being around us. And it's pretty amazing, and it's getting, better, better, better by the day, because remember, we've never done this in this fullness with the collective, so this is getting good. And also remember we wrote this, and remember that, as and how it was described to the powers is, as the sand starts crumbling, as the sand, and I'm going to do it from up here because it was all these things that people, that we think, money and the jobs and all that we think, you know I've seen some comments where people are saying, why can't Sophia leave everything the way it is and her just wake up? Well, everything the way it is was a complete illusion based off the suffering of Sophia and all the lineage. That's why it can't. Plain, but understand that we're unraveling as it comes down. Now, this is all built up to say this, and this is why I went into the responsibility, because I could not even deliver this message to you guys, even the 1800 that watches it, even the 300 that might see it and go do this when I hang up. Do not shout this from your channels all at once. When you're guided to shout it from your channel, I want you to put it in your heart and process it and make sure it's time. There will be a time that you share it. I'm not telling you not to. But remember that sand is coming down the more that we see how we were gritted in it. So this is the homework. And this is really going to assist in all of you activating. It's what had to be done in the creatrix to this point, and now it's time for you guys to jump in. Whether or not you believe that you were created in the matrix or not, you were. Your energy frequency is your gematria, because everything, fifth world, you're going to love this, and you might have already done this. It came on really strong about a week ago for me to look up my name in gematria, your birth name, especially how it was given to you, and then any names that you have taken on since then. And gosh, they want me to say this right now. And for those of us on this channel and this now, your name with Rothschild at the end. Because we really are the lineage of the Rothschilds. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. I actually am the spinning image of it. I am the incarnate of Marie Helene Rothschild. I look just like her. Which, of course, we wrote this that way because through my confirmations, as they saw me, they kept saying, I mean, in the physical, because remember, I've been living this. in my physical, which is how I can show up and deliver it right now, which was the whole point and how it was written that way. This has nothing to do with ego. This is just me being the reporter. Um, they kept saying, "Oh my gosh, she looks just like her." And when I started after I did my name in Gematria was the minute that I got the message, now put Rothschild at the end. And then I was drawn to the internet to look up Marie Helene Rothschild, and I almost, whoa. And the date she died was March 1st, and March 1st is the day that y'all were seeing timelines that I didn't live, when the energy came in and we alchemized the ISIS. I mean, when that all that AI stuff and everything with the genome that didn't take place. So it makes a lot of sense. Uh, Basically, in a lot, because we're the original aeons, and so in a lot of ways, they were clones of us, if you want to say it that way. But you know, and it's also how we've been gridded down. So look up your name in Gematria and then look up your name with Rothschild at the end. Now, you're going to see some things that are really great and beautiful that are your true essence, which is why you have all the bad things. Okay. And what do I mean by bad things? Well, when you pull up Kristen Renee Genzel, it'll tell you, I'm the real Jesus Christ. Oh, see, here we go. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay, y'all can hear me? Okay, I know it's frozen and that's a lovely picture. If Casey's here, open up the field. Okay, so um look up your name when you see, like, for instance, mine has beautiful things, but then the CDC was gridded under me, Obama, Trump, um, nine, the attack on 9/11, um, a lot of the energy grids. Other people I'm seeing have timelines. Um, the Golden Gate Bridge, blowing up the Golden Gate Bridge on a different, because they were using, right? So all that was happening was our frequency was being tapped into so that then that energy could be utilized to do whatever it is they were trying to do. There is, Illuminati sex parties was under mine. It's like it's, and you can also tell by what's gridded what energy you hold. For instance, since I'm like the body, and my field is like, which is like so many of y'all's too, right? Is more the element of the embodiment of things, then I hold, a lot of physical things. Dallas, where I live, is all coded under mine, which is how they were trying to anchor down the energy here, right? So when you see the things that aren't so great, for instance, Casey, she had such a huge field. So hers was big stuff in the reality, Walmart, the Federal Reserve, um, somebody else has Amazon, I mean, this is all the energy that they were utilizing was always coming from us. So go look. And when you see these things, do not react, but take your power back. And when you're looking at it, realize that that's how powerful you are. And notice, is it, am I like a building? Am I the embodiment? Is it people that are associated to mine, right? Because I have Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, or is it of England and all the finances? Is it storms? You know, because it'll really give you, basically a glimpse into it really links into starseedology and the fields and describing what your energy and power is. When you see it, it dissolves it because there's no longer any energy backing it. So it's really is whenever, you can't walk out of a prison until you know you're in it. And right now, you guys, in order to, we're a little bit more at a time, and we're taking our power back a little at a time so that it doesn't crash everything. But those of us on this channel right now, we're anchoring all of it, and we're also birthing anew with our true energy, and we're releasing those final ties on our field so that then that energy is released into the one, so that the full new story is coming out of your body with codes. And I can promise you that we have already flipped the book. And I realize, the gold underneath reserve is ours. It's not mine. It's the collectives. It's the energy that was powering the financial systems and things. And if you're coded under Amazon, then you have the power to change some of the things at Amazon, right? I mean, really. So by just focusing on it and consciously calling in how it needs to go in the future and how it's fair and good for everyone. And just your little thought in your jammies sitting on your bed is creating it now, because we're in the divine mother, the divine feminine grid. So I love you guys so much. Feel free to email me and let me know what you're seeing. Do not react. That's why I can tell you, if you react, it's going to throw us off kilter. Remember, y'all, keeping balance is the most important thing. You're merging your divine masculine with your divine feminine within your physical energy body, and it's happening at a scale now that it really has nothing to do with you. The energies that you're feeling might produce an experience, but just realize that you're controlling that experience and it's just energy. So love it, hug them, kiss them. Anything fearful that comes into your field, go, "Mwah, mwah, 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 I love you." And I am going to put on here at the bottom, I did an activation, light language activation video, and I'm offering it for $64.46. And I announced this on the full moon of Libra, and it was so crazy because only one person bought it. And now I know why I charge $64.46, and I know why that one person is the only person that bought it. 6446 is the new, I think it's the tetrahedron. It is the flower grid in a star, a six-pointed star, but it's as within, so without. It's the organic body, and it's the plasma field. And one of our creatrix brought this in. This is part of the integration that's happening now, and that is what that light language blockage and integration of your heart and your solar plexus and sacral that are happening right now with the magenta, blue, and sacral flame, because we do have three. So email, I'll put the PayPal down below, and just, if you, it's $64.46, and I'll send that to you. The reason that that one person bought it is because she happened to end up being the fifth element of inner earth that we needed in our four elements in order to complete what just happened. So I know how powerful it is, and if you feel like you need a little bit of a tune up, if you because we all need assistance. These are made, this is major energy stuff, and realize too, that's how powerful light language all is because it's been programmed into our field and it's been programmed into the atmosphere to do exactly what it needs to do. And not only that, but we have woken up the frequencies within our one body in order to deliver these tones because they weren't even deliverable before in this manner. So I'm going to link that below, and email me at CoCo at Cosmic Christie if you need anything, and we'll work out an exchange, whatever you can do. Okay. Because I do have to ask for an energy exchange, but whatever you need, let me know, and let me know what you can offer as an energy exchange, and I will assist. Don't worry about blowing, like, thinking I have too many because it is always the exact person that needs to come. And we are switching, so I'm going to be getting back into starseedology and those trainings and things like that. So, and I'll be setting up some I think I'm gonna it's like little networking events on Zoom where we can all get together and talk about what we're working on so that we can assist in the focus, um, and learn from one another. What services are you offering, or what do you think about this, or this is what I'm doing, just so we can learn from one another, number one, and get it in the consciousness because we're all bringing in such incredible information, and it's just starting. So those are the types of things that I'm going to be working on in the near future, along with getting back more into some of the larger scale businesses and coaching, which is going to open up a lot of activity for the crew. Meaning, as I start working with these different organizations, they're going to need support with employees, and because everyone's waking up now. So these networking little things will be also for me to know who's doing what and what's going on. So as we're going in and setting this stuff up in the coming year, then I'm aware of what resources can be brought in, which is just helping spread abundance and everything for everyone. I told you guys we were picking up the bags, and now our story is just beginning. And don't forget, this was all for love. It was all for us to be in union with our true twin, because that's how powerful that love is, that we were gritted down for centuries to hold us back. And those grids are no longer there. So the more now that we just integrate, do our service to the one and our service to humanity, keep plowing forward from wherever we started, it's over. We're back in our story, and this is where we're quantum leaping. I love you guys. That's such a horrible picture I'm looking at. Please share, like, subscribe, all that crazy stuff, and just be